Well, I want to thank you and welcome you for joining us for another episode of the THT Live Podcast. I hope you enjoyed your day, and I want to thank you for your patience as we kind of back up these live streams. Life happens, ladies and gentlemen, and we try to adapt and try to keep this live stream and this service going for you. But thanks to all the generous contributors on the channel that have stuck around and all the awesome mods and all the channel members, we are here today bringing you a new discussion and a topic that we're going to talk about that hits pretty near and dear close to home, no pun intended, near and dear to my own hometown. We're in Dallas, Texas. Or at least the Dallas Cowboys have adopted Arlington, Texas moniker rather. I don't know. It's the Dallas team has a stadium in Arlington, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. But we're talking about Jerry Jones tonight. And obviously Stephen A. Smith is in the middle because a lot of y'all probably would recognize Stephen A. Smith a lot quicker or more easily than you'd recognize Jerry Jones. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is honestly true and remarkably wonderful to have you in the building tonight. Get some popcorn ready. Get everything ready for yourself because we're getting ready to take a deep dive into this entire hysteria that is Jerry Jones appearing on a picture that was taken, well, I don't know exactly how long ago. I think it was like 43 years, they've said. Was it 43 years? 43 years ago. 47 years ago. Here's the picture on your screen right now. I have to have the screen on a split screen, unfortunately, because I completely forgot to turn my main screenshot button on. It seems to not be working right now, but we're going to take a closer look at the screen here in just 1 second. I'll have to change it to a manual setting here. Let me see if I can do that. 1 second. All right, there we go. Let's get me on camera. All right. And I'll put this picture up in 1 second, but the main issue is a few different things, and we're going to talk about them here tonight because I think that there's a good, valid couple of points that we could make in this entire hysteria that's kind of happened over there in Dallas Stadium. So give me 1 second. I'm setting these screenshots and trying to get this thing tuned out. Okay, so I see it there. I need to go to what's known as only screen. Oh, I do have I have the button right here. Oh, Jesus. This is bad. I have the button. I just didn't. Okay, let's see if that helps right there. All right, I put a picture for it. Does this work? Okay, here we go. All right, it does. I did do my due diligence. Let's drop a bomb for me. And then let's go ahead and drop a confusion sign because I don't know why sometimes I'm so stupid. So, if you're looking at this picture here, I'm sorry, baby, you see a crowd gathering around, and a lot of people have taken a particular notice of interest in this fella here. He's been memed, I guess, to the 21st century in this instance. From the 20th to the 21st century. Yes, this happened in the 50s, so it's all the 21st century. But this cat that you're seeing here has been called pretty much like what if you were to envision the picture of a bully looks like at all in 1950, this is him. The kid looks evil, and obviously they're standing right outside of a school or some sort of function or facility, and it's hard to tell, but you can tell that they're young men. Particularly two black young men standing in front of a lot of white men, right, with cameras all around. A microphone seems to be held or being held. And mind you, these are pretty young cats, and the cats that's standing in front of him are also young, but he has a cigarette in his mouth, so a little bit of a different time we can tell. But the main interest is the guy that's circled here, the guy that's also in a rectangle here. Shapes, ladies and gentlemen. Who said that we wouldn't use what we were taught in second grade? Wait, were we learning shapes in second grade? No, we were learning shapes before. I hope you weren't learning shapes in second grade, baby. My baby. So, we know that there's a past and past and past. But once again, this isn't even necessarily about the past and past and past. No, this is far more of a why did it have to turn into this type of case study? Unfortunately, right? Because what it's been seen and realized here is not that necessarily the worst part about the issue being the history and the traumatic history and the known history and the understood history and the plight of certain people of minority demographics in the country and things that we understand. That we've talked about that at extent. We get that, but we're also going to talk about this too because we need to understand what this means for the players of the Cowboy. How would you feel as a professional football player knowing you're getting ready to be drafted to a team and say you are, you are obviously passionate and understanding of your background, and that's something that you have a lot of respect or integrity and sacredity about. Is that a right word? I'm sorry, I apologize, but you understand what I mean. You keep it sacred, and that would really bother you to know that you have an issue like what the Dallas Cowboys owners might be facing right now in this picture. Now, I believe he was 14 years old in this picture here, where they were at a race rally or a protest for segregation or desegregation of 6 black boys inside of a school, right? This is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones. Now, the issue is that Jerry Jones said that he was up here specifically because he was curious, right? He was curious. He wanted to see what was happening down at the school. He had heard about these types of things happening all the time, and he just wanted to get a little piece of it for himself and just to figure out what was going on. That's the story. We'll get to his video of the apologies, and we'll get to all the videos in 1 second, but I'm just giving you the backstory before we get to the videos, before we get to all the audio clips, before we get to the rest of the madness and the buffoonery, and I guess you could say coonery in some instances or some aspects of Stephen A. Smith, right? And a lot of people have been saying certain things about Stephen A. Smith for a while now, so that's nothing new. But before we get to all that, this is what the reasoning for the Dallas Cowboys owner for being in the stands are, and I want you to deduce for yourself whether or not you decide that that's valid enough of a reason in this particular moment or instance in time. Keep in mind, yes, this is the 50s, and keep in mind that this was particularly the unfortunate energy and tragic set of circumstances that were facing Americans, both black and white, and minorities and Jewish people and any other minorities that were currently in America at the time. This was the atmosphere and the temperature of the room, and it was hot. It was very hot. And these young black brave boys and these young black brave girls and these young black people and these people that were really facing some serious racism, and I say this all the time as well, that y'all really can't complain about shit nowadays. Because the racism back then was serious, right? But they really were out there truly fighting for something, even though nowadays, fast forward in time, we seem to have been able to somehow continuously do the amount of damage, do more amount of damage to ourselves. So let's go ahead and get on into this live stream, okay? Stephen A. Smith, before we play Jerry Jones' response, because Jerry Jones' response was pretty short, I'll be honest with you. Jerry Jones said something like, it's something that's in the past, and I'm going to, work on doing better in the future. That's pretty much all he said, right? This is what Stephen A. Smith had to say about this entire situation, though. He has a show on First Take. The extremely popular analyst had to say these words in regards to that situation.
I'm pretty pissed off. And let me say this. I'm pissed off, but not for reasons that people would think. I'm very, very fond of Jerry Jones, and I'm not hiding that from anybody. Is his record perfect? No. But I'm pissed off because he doesn't deserve what just happened. He doesn't deserve it. Our report said he was 14 years old. Yeah. Another report said he was 15 years old. At minimum, that's 65 years ago. You're going to bring up a picture of Jerry Jones standing at this protest. No question what was happening is not something that anybody as a black person should be appreciative about.
So, it happened 65 years ago. I'm trying to find something real quick. Hang on. All right, cool. So, it happened 65 years ago. And once again, the picture isn't necessarily Jerry Jones off in the crowd throwing haymakers, right? He looks like he's just kind of trying to see what's going on. But a lot of people said no. That's just not gonna quite cut it. That's what a lot of people have said. Now, let's get back to what Stephen A. Smith has said.
We had 6 students at that particular North Little Rock High School that was trying to desegregate the school.
No one should be okay with it.
Nobody should be okay with that.
Regardless of
We
race.
understand that. We get all of that. We also understand what we as black people and as black folks, black men have to deal with. And by the way, to some degree, we still deal with a lot of things, and we all know it. Racism is alive and well. Bigotry and prejudice is alive and well. We get all of that. But you're going to bring up a photo of him when he was 14, 15 years old, 65 or 66 years ago. This is where cancer culture gets into the mix, and you're making an attempt to eradicate him, what he stands for, and all he has done. And by the way, I don't have a problem with the photo. I don't have a problem. If he was 30, 35, 40 years old, that's different.
Right.
14, 15 years old. 14, 15 years old.
Right.
All right. No. What are your opinions? If you're watching this on the replay, if you're watching the replay of this live stream, in the comment box below, I want you to comment your opinions on the length of time being necessarily important or not important to the crime committed. So, what do I mean by that? Well, if you have a certain crime that's committed in a certain amount of time, does the length of time necessarily resolve that or absolve, or is it just a matter of time until all crimes are absolved? Or are there some crimes that are simply unabsolved by time, no matter how long or how much time has passed? Some people would say, well, you always got to forgive. Some people would say, no, you can never forgive and forget, because it's just such an irrepressible act, reprehensible act. There we go. That you just can't forgive it. Some people would say that. So I don't know what this particular moment or situation is, but
we're going to lean on somebody when he was 14, born and raised in the South.
it's good.
And we're going to pick it up 66 years later to say, you know something?
Yeah.
You ain't hire a black coach. I think that's pretty low.
So they're saying that Jerry Jones hasn't hired a black coach, that he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. I don't know. Maybe this is being some sort of behind-the-scenes backdoor move to try and get rid of Jerry Jones and things of that nature. But once again, it's not even necessarily Jerry Jones that we should be talking about or having an issue with, but it's Stephen A. Smith, because Stephen A. Smith also had to say this, and this is where we start to get into some kind of bad waters. For those of you who don't know or who might not have heard of Kyrie Irving or aren't familiar with Kyrie Irving is a basketball player that was recently gone through a lot of scrutiny for saying some things that have been deemed as anti-Semitic. And if you just go ahead and pull up his Google stat resumes, if you look at the news articles, there's often things about him being traded and things about suspension. What is Kyrie Irving suspended for? The Nets suspended Irving on November 3rd after he tweeted a link to a documentary containing anti-Semitic messages, followed by an initial refusal to issue an apology. What religion is Kyrie Irving? He's Muslim, apparently, and so that's been causing a pretty big stir. But Kyrie's been going through and really, kind of taking up somewhat of the really passionate side of the religious awareness or breakthrough, if you will, and that side of the NBA, which is a pretty conservative, organization, right? And he's very proud of his religion. I even saw a clip of him like saging the court, right? Let me see if I can find this really quickly. uh, it was a trip to watch this. Check this out right here. This is Kyrie Irving saging the court before a video, or not a video game, but a basketball game, a professional game.
Some people think Kyrie Irving is a little crazy, but
Damn, bro, got the
my bad.
Some people think Kyrie Irving is a little crazy, but it turns out he knew exactly what was going on this whole time, because he was burning some sage in his return to the TD Garden this year after he smelled the sins in the building. Some people think Kyrie Irving is a little...
That was him. And if you watch, once again, if you're watching on the video, he's literally got an entire bowl and I'm not sure, but a pistol and mortar type of deal where he's got the sage and he's going through an NBA and arena saging that bad boy before the game. You know what I mean? So he's definitely out there and really on the front lines with a different style of life and beliefs that has a lot of people, to be quite frank and honest with you, a bit shaken up in the NBA. And the thing that caused issue for him was this right here. Let's go ahead and get into that.
To do with basketball. We're about to get into that now. And I want you to look at this first. The Anti-Defamation League found that the number of anti-Semitic incidents hit a record high in 2021, a 34% increase from the previous year.
And yes, now one of the biggest names in sports facing backlash for spreading anti-Semitism. NBA star Kyrie Irving of the Brooklyn Nets shared a link last week on social media to a 2018 film that's been described as anti-Semitic, leading to a heated exchange with ESPN's Nick Friedel during Saturday's post-game press conference. And joining us is ESPN reporter Nick Friedel himself and ABC News contributor and Los Angeles Times columnist LZ.
Now, we're going to go ahead and take a second, and I want to look at that that argument that they had right there. That looked like that was actually pretty serious. So let's see if we can get that right there for us right now. Huh? We can pull that.
And it's a title given to Christ, Philippians 2:11, and my name translates in the Hebrew language as Yahweh. So I went on to Amazon Prime. I was like, you know what? Let me see if there are any documentaries on Yahweh. So went in the search bar, typed in Yahweh. That came up. Went out and shared it on my platform. That was my night. In terms of the backlash or what people call it, we're in 2022. History is not supposed to be hidden from anybody. And I'm not a divisive person when it comes to religion. I embrace all walks of life. You see it on all my platforms. I talk to all races, all cultures, all religions. And my response would be, it's not about educating yourself on what Semitism is and what anti-Semitism is. It's really about learning the root words of where these come from and understanding that this is an African heritage that is also belonging to the people. Africa is in it, whether we want to dismiss it or not. So the claims of anti-Semitism and who are the original chosen people of God, and we go into these religious conversations and it's a big no-no. I don't live my way like that. I don't live my life that way. Excuse me, I grew up in a melting pot, and I say a melting pot of all races, white, black, red, yellow, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, and you can see the way I live my life now. I'm not here to be divisive, so they could push their agenda. I don't want to say they, because I'm not identifying any one group or race of people, but I'm in a unique position to have a level of influence on my community, and what I post does not mean that I support everything that's being said or everything that's being done, or I'm campaigning for anything. All I do is post things for my people in my community.
So that's what Kyrie had to say there. Let's see if we can go ahead and get the interview clip where he's actually walking out.
Any more questions?
But you're not answering the question.
Oh, it's another answering your question. Oh, my God. Let's make another Instagram clip so we could be famous again. Next question.
Kyrie, basketball related.
We'll move on to that. So Kyrie Irving posted.
So that was him, I guess, walking out of the interview right there. And a lot of people have a lot of support for Kyrie Irving because they're, kind of really. Let's see. I think we have one more chance right here. One more chance, y'all. My apologies.
And it's a title given to Christ.
Okay, so we just saw that. We're gonna fast forward a bit because I think this is the clip where he did walk out.
Why did you decide to promote something that Alex Jones said?
That was a few weeks ago. I do not stand with Alex Jones' position, narrative, court case that he had with Sandy Hook, or any of the kids that felt like they had to relive trauma.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut it right there. It's not necessarily important what Kyrie had to say. Let's go ahead and get it back now to Stephen A. Smith, because Stephen A. Smith, after we watched kind of how Jerry Jones right, the Jerry Jones situation was handled, Stephen A. Smith had, and a lot of people were upset, somewhat of a different opinion on Kyrie and a different energy, if you will, on Kyrie. So based off of what you heard there, let's listen to what Stephen A. Smith said about Kyrie's.
Dramatic, but I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna hold back. To answer the question directly, Molly and Max, Kyrie Irving should not be forced to engage with the media. He doesn't want to talk to the media, fine. We won't miss him. But here's the reality. He should be fined every damn day he doesn't talk, because you signed a contractual agreement. It comes along with your contract as an NBA player. This notion that you just get to go out on the basketball court and play, but you don't answer questions, you don't talk to the media, whatever. Understand what the media is. The media is a conduit to assist the NBA and its players in promoting its brand. That way it facilitates you generating more revenue so guys like Kyrie can get paid $33.4 million this year, $35 million next season, and then a player option to pay him $36.6 million in 22-23, even though you fresh over playing 20 games last season. Okay? That's the situation with Kyrie Irving that everybody needs to address. The bottom line is this. Kyrie Irving, as you said, Max, comes across looking. I'm not going to talk about what he is, because I actually think he's a good guy. I actually think his heart is in the right place. But I think he's immature. I think that he's occasionally selfish. And I think at this particular moment in time, he comes off as a damn snob. He thinks people are beneath him and he's above it. He looks at the media as being inauthentic. That's what he thinks about the media. You know, everything that has happened to Kyrie Irving, that Kyrie Irving has self-inflicted, go back and look at the tapes. Quote him. It's always the media. Always. You got something to say about LeBron? It's the media. You got something to say about your time in Boston? It's the media. You got something to say about wanting to move on? It's the media. You're in Brooklyn. Nobody has thought about you since the spring. You haven't played. The season was halted. You wasn't playing before then. You had shoulder surgery. You come in, and then you're not even participating in the...
He got so angry so quick. He was like, Stephen A. was like, you know what, Kyrie, I understand. Here's the thing, you should just be fair. But you know what? Fuck that. F it. F you, mama. It's like, God, bro, what happened, bro? He was like, you know what? I'm not holding back. This is it. You know, F all you niggas.
The bubble. Because you're recuperating from your right shoulder. And still, you wanted to sit up there and implement yourself in the proceedings by talking about how the game should not be played. You weren't playing anyway. Jeez. While collecting $33 million. Ooh. But you had something to say. And then when people responded, it's the media. You go on Kevin Durant's podcast and literally state, which we'll get into later, but literally state that, you know what? I mean, you're the first guy that I looked at and I said, hey, I trust you to make the last shot. And
So, that's a response that Kyrie got for pretty much stating and sharing, and we'll watch the video right now, but a video, right? 1 second, unpin the toolbar, there we go. Let's go ahead and get into that video that Kyrie Irving shared. 1 second. She leaving a like, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're enjoying. All right. Well, I'm still looking for that right now. Okay, it looks like we just got it right there. So we get back to that video in 3, 2.
LZ Granderson, thank you both for being with us.
All right, LZ, let's start with you here. For people who aren't familiar, don't want to tell them to go out and find this film and watch it or anything else, talk about exactly what he did. He tweeted a link. He didn't say anything, but he tweeted a link to this film that shows and says what?
That is basically anti-Semitic. Like Nick and I were talking offline, like we're so sick of talking about Kyrie from last season, right? Dealing with the vaccinations and his logic. And again, here we are again, him trying to apply Kyrie logic to something that is pretty straightforward. It is an anti-Semitic film. There is no nuance, in my opinion. I don't understand why he felt the need to tweet it.
So, the media and the mainstream media, and you have to be very, not adept, but if you just pay attention, obviously, to the people that they've used to kind of, speak about this situation, they made sure to go after a very specific, cast and type, and there's nothing wrong with that. These are all well-spoken brothers, but it's obviously meant to definitely give off more of a certain image, and obviously they bring, a black guy up here with dreadlocks to speak about a Kyrie Irving situation, because most people that are going to be really paying more attention to this in the NBA realms of sorts are going to be hardcore Kyrie Irving fans, or people who are more a little tied into the entire race situations that can go on in day-to-day lives in America, yada, 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 right? So that's kind of what they played. But the bigger thing about it is this. The duality of the anti-Semitic and, well, we need to kind of let Jerry Jones and let that be what it is, and what Stephen A. Smith essentially was saying was that, hey, it's in the past now. I mean, it is what it is. We were talking about this, and it's from 1967, right? I mean, let's listen again.
To eradicate him, what he stands for, and all he has done. And by the way, I don't have a problem with the photo. I don't have a problem. If he was 30, 35, 40 years old, that's different.
Right.
14, 15 years old. 14, 15 years old.
Right.
But we're going to lean on somebody when he was 14, born and raised in the South, and we're going to pick it up 66 years later to say, you know something?
Yeah.
You ain't hire a black coach.
Now, the problem with this for a lot of people is that the very issue that Kyrie is championing would be an issue that would have been an issue from slavery or antebellum slavery or the persecution of a certain group of people, right? Which is why the Holocaust and why anti-Semitic remarks are so horrible, because we don't want to let go of the past, which is what Stephen A. Smith is saying we should do, is this case, is let go of the very past that Kyrie Irving is concerned about voicing. Now, Kyrie seems like he has more of a Hebrew Israelite type mindset, in him thinking or saying that we are the true Israelites or God's chosen people, and I'm not here to argue that or another, but I'm just arguing the point that Stephen A. Smith, in that some people might relay or kind of get behind, is that Kyrie is walking a path that necessarily doesn't need to be walked down. And what exactly is he doing? Well, if we're going to give acknowledgement, if give acknowledgement to the bad stuff that's happened to us, one group of people, then you have to acknowledge the other group of people as well. And unfortunately, because of the times and the type of people that black men are, it's a lot easier for us to stand divided on an issue, particularly when it comes down to the scarcity mindset and us only controlling 2% of the population in America. It's a lot easier to stand divided on an issue, when you know that there's capital financial gain. I mean, you heard it himself. Stephen A. Smith said, listen, I'm friends with Jerry Jones, right? Jerry Jones is a billionaire. Okay. Jerry Jones is one of the richest people in America. Jerry Jones is very rich. He has thousands of millions of dollars. He's very rich. So for Stephen A. Smith to have this false bravado, or almost this, I forget the word, this false sense of integrity, whatever that word is. What's the phrase for it? Disingenuous, honestly. I forget. Anyways, for him to kind of act like, I'm cool with him, but that's not the reason why I'm saying this. Well, that'd probably be a decent amount of the reason why you'd be saying that, right? Outside of that, even if that's not necessarily the reason why you're saying that, for you to just have such a completely radically different stance on public television is telling, and it says a lot. And it kind of threw me for a second back to the times when I've told you when I was in certain situations, y'all, in our communities, and it was a lot harder to find people that stood with you and stood, in agreement outside, right, of closed doors, and then maybe behind closed doors, you having that talk and say, hey, man, what was that about? We got into some issues and some stuff there, just really, but having the understanding of, yeah, listen, hey, I get it. We're gonna at least try and help in the little aspects of where we can and use the power that we do have. I'll use my media grace that I do have. If I'm Stephen A. Smith, I'll use the platform that I've been so graciously given, and worked hard for. Don't get me wrong. At the same time, to try and make sure that I let myself, I let myself in and out of a situation pause gracefully, right? And not just come across that I am here for a paycheck or here for one side and one side only. And that's what, this is what happens a lot of the time, this is what happens a lot of the time with us and with black men. I'm not saying that Jerry Jones is a complete racist or whatever it might be. I don't know the man to even say that. That's not the issue. I'm just saying that it becomes difficult when you have Stephen A. Smith seeming to be really cordial, right?
So you got civil rights legislation in 1964. You got Voting Rights Act in 1965. You got Lyndon Johnson that basically, purportedly, I don't know whether it's true or not. He says if we put forth this legislation, we'll have the Negro vote in our favor for the next 50 years. Ever since that time, black folks have voted Democratic for at least 90% of the time. I understand what I'm seeing from the conservative side. I don't like it. And I know the Sean Hannitys of the world, the Mark Levins of the world. I know these people. I speak to them. I don't agree with their policies, but I respect the fact that they're honest about where they stand.
Right. So it becomes difficult when you watch scenes like that and you see brothers that are in, rooms with powerful people, obviously, white men, right? And we, as much as we do, try and make it out to seem like it's this or that Stephen A. Smith is talking about, I understand the plight of black people and this, and that. Meanwhile, in the same breath, the very words that he ended his stanza on, he does the complete opposite in regards to Kyrie, which is saying, hey, even if I don't understand your stance, I'll at least still respect you. I'll at least still give you that type of respect. I'll at least still, as a man, do this and do this and do that. But he didn't give, unfortunately, his fellow brethren, who seems to be a pretty respectful guy, Kyrie Irving, from what I've seen, it seems like he's a pretty chill dude. Right? He doesn't get into drama. I mean, the guy's saging the basketball court before games, for God's sakes. Like, how much trouble could the man be causing? You know what I mean? But this is an issue that I see with black men, whether it be at the highest point of society or whether it be at the lowest monochrome. The inability for black men to stick together has been their holes in the boat, raft, bamboo, laden twig, canoe type style, whatever it might be, whatever ships didn't come from Africa to save us, right? The reason they didn't come to Africa then is the same reason they wouldn't come from Africa now. It's because there's no unification and there's no solidarity as far as the racial identity of black men. This is why they're so they're so impervious. This is why as a whole it's easy to just kind of divide and conquer, because there's already division and conquering mindset amongst black men as a collective, amongst us as a collective, the leaders as a collective, because once again the men are going to lead their particular community to set outcomes. So the Stephen A. Smith situation, the Kyrie Irving situation, I wanted to talk about today, with y'all, because I found it really fascinating. And I forgot to put my phone on the charger. Hang on one second. Oh, we're on 3%. I was gonna say, huh? Oh no, it's fine. I I'm just going to change it to the picture for 1 second. Okay, there we go. 1 second, y'all. I'm going to plug my phone in the charger. If you'd like to, here in a second, and we're going to try, if you'd like to, you can call in. Call in this number. I'm going to drop the number one more time. Call in. I want to get one call just to see and to test it out to make sure that this all works. Call in. You will be on live. So maybe don't give too pertinent information or details about yourself or your situation. Hang on 1 second. All right, let me get this number for y'all right now. And then we're going to be off and running. Let's see. Now, I saw Red Supreme doing this, and it sounds pretty good. So I assume it should work about the same for us here. All right, so I think I got. Well, they don't give me the number. They give me everything else in my little profile here except for my number. Maybe it's in my settings, account settings. Obviously, I can't give my actual number. So I have to give you all my Wi-Fi number. No, that's I have it. Oh wait, which one is that? Is that it? Let me see. Okay, I think we have it here, y'all. Okay, this is it. This is it right here. Thank you to my lovely, wonderful assistant. Here's the number to call: 817-476-3035. I'm gonna write this number down in the chat. 817-476-3035. Let me see if I can remember that. I'm going to change this camera angle for y'all. And, all right. We'll put that in the chat. You can call in now. Let's just check this out. 817. I just said the number. There's no way I'm going to remember right now. All right. It doesn't look like we have too many people in here right now anyway, so I don't know if anybody's going to call. But if you decide to, there you go. I'm still trying to see. Okay, well, no luck there. All right. Okay. We might leave the screen changes. Okay, so, anywho, c'est la vie. Surprise, surprise, right? What do you know? What else is new? What else is new? We're going to finish out this clip right here of Mr. Stephen A. Then we're going to round this thing on out. Head up out of here. Hope you'll have a good night. And we're going to be back. Don't worry. We're going to be back really soon with another live stream. We're going to be back real soon. Back to our usual.
Media made up that LeBron might have a problem with that. Damn, you was taking a shot at LeBron. And you go on social media and literally state, hey, well, you know what?
Jeez.
If I had something to say about him, I would say their name. Like, how dare us connect the dots and say 1 + 1 = 2? You won a championship with a brother in 2016. Far be it for us to come to the conclusion that
I know, just kind of, and I get that the dude has to talk passionately to, make a living and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I just felt like I've experienced and I've seen that, that type of energy where it's like, dang, on no level can you connect sometimes. And as bad as, once again, you try and make the man out to be, you'll get a lot more cold shoulder from the brother than you will the man sometimes. sometimes you have to lean on the brother. Obviously, you got to lean on your own people. Sometimes you got to lean on your own family or whoever you got around you, irrespective of the race. Or you got to lean on, the people that you think that you should be able to lean on. And when you can't, it's like, dang, it's double whammy. You got the system and you're fighting the family. That was bars right there. That was pretty good bars. I might have to write that down for the album. 32. I might have to write that down. Nobody called, but it's a good thing because this phone is stuck on 4%. If y'all can hear it, keeps trying to charge. So we're going to ride this thing on out. I hope that you enjoyed this live stream wherever you are watching, doing whatever you're doing right now. You can always leave a donation after watching if you enjoy this by leaving a super thanks. And to everybody that donates, thank you so much. I hope that you're doing good. I didn't see too many of the comments. I really don't look at the comments as much because I try and keep a good show going for y'all. I appreciate that. If you want to kind of get my attention more in the comments, you can send a small little super chat and I'll probably see it. Or I'm notified when you send a super chat. So for the future, if you're listening and I don't see your